Let's talk Phillies. Krat, you get to watch this team a lot. You live in Pennsylvania. What's the vibe this year? It's not like there's been nothing in terms of additions and subtractions. We can show that as you're chatting, but you do get the narrative of running it back. It's a narrative for the Yankees. It's a narrative recently for the Phillies. Do you feel like they're running it back, or do you feel like things will look differently with a couple names crossed off the list, a couple names added, and some prospects that could be entering the fold?
Let's put it this way. If they didn't run it back with the Kyle Schwarber, with the JT Real Muto, with the fact that, they I guess they have Lizardo's on the list there, but that was an extension. To me, if those two guys, and that's where they're saying, oh, they're just running it back. If they don't bring those guys in, who do they bring in? Like if they move Bohm over to first and they definitely take Bo Bichette to the finish line, they tried. They tried their best. To me, this is a different looking team. Is it a better team? I don't know. To me, I feel like the Phillies right now are like that time when you're in the middle of a long running race and you're halfway there and you're like, well, I guess I can't turn back now. Like, I got to finish the race. Like, I'm halfway to 13 miles. I got to get 6.5 miles back that way or 6.5 miles to the finish line. Might as well finish it out. Can they do it? Yes, they can definitely do it. Who's going to need to step up? You're going to need a rookie in Andrew Painter to step up. You're going to need to hope that Zach Wheeler makes it back. You're going to need to hope that a guy like Adolis Garcia is brought in to not have the last 2 years that he had. The last 2 years are exactly what they got rid of in Nick Castellanos, but they had to eat $20 million. So essentially, Adolis is costing them, I'm not sure, I think Adolis was like $10 or $12 million. Adolis is technically costing them $32 million unless he has the type of year that they hope he is going to have.
Listen, I think the Phillies are still a good team. I mean, additions, subtractions, whatever you want to say. I think the Phillies are still a good team, and I think they have a great nucleus of guys that can win again. They're then going to need some things to go right because did the Mets improve? Yes. Do we think the Braves will be better than last year? Yes. Do we think the Marlins could be better than last year? Possibly, yes. So I think the Phillies' stranglehold on this division might be loosening a little bit. But I still think they have a good team, and I still think they have a group of guys that can go out there and win. They're a little bit older now, but they still are solid guys that know how to play in big games, know how to do things in big situations, and their starting rotation is still strong. Wheeler's going to be back probably end of April, early May. You still have Nola. You still have Luzardo, and you still have Christopher Sanchez. So you still have the makings of a good rotation. You had Keller to the back end. Alvarado's back. You have Duran. And then you throw in an Andrew Painter in the rotation as the fifth guy possibly. They still have the makings of a really good team. So just because they made some subtractions, they also made some additions, and I still think this team has a chance to be pretty darn good.
The tired, or not tired, but the lazy narrative is, well, last year, like this team, like everybody feels different. Guys work on things. Guys get a year older. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. It's all the narrative. Like last year is behind this team. This year, how are they going to do a lot of the really good things that they did last year, but then take it to the next step? And the next step isn't making it to the NLCS. The next step for this team is a World Series. I think it is a failure of a year. Probably even last year, they would have said that. The players would have said that if they don't win the World Series. So I think it's high expectations, and something that AJ said about stranglehold on the division. I don't know that they need a stranglehold on the division. I don't know. I guess we lean on what the Dodgers have done, and they get into the postseason and they're healthy and hitting on all cylinders, while it may look differently than the last year when they won the World Series. The Phillies need to be able to do that. And I think that every year that Topper spends another year in a managerial seat, because he's been in the dugout for, I think, 2 decades now, it's something that he's learning how this team needs to win in big situations. This Phillies team needs to win in big situations in October. They don't need to win all the games during the season. So do they want to win the division? Absolutely. Do they need to make sure that they do better in the postseason? Absolutely. That's what this team is built for. And will they do it? I don't know. They have a good team though.
When you look at the rest of the division, to me, the Mets are tough to predict. Last year ended up being a disaster finish for them. They should be better, but there's a lot of variance there. There are a lot of new faces. They really switched it up. They went the other way. Like, okay, some teams are running it back. We're just going to scrap this, let a bunch of dudes leave, enter a bunch of new names. When it comes to the Braves, AJ, the Phillies offensively, I think, are right there with Atlanta, if not a little better. And pitching wise, I feel much better about Philly than I do about Atlanta. So when we're looking at NL East projections here, Fangraphs, they've got 89.7 for Mets, 89.3 for Braves, 87.9 for Phillies. For me, the Phillies are the safest bet to be a playoff team in the division. I feel really confident about that. If there's one team where you're like, I feel like a lot would have to go wrong for this team to not make the playoffs, for me, it's Philly, right? The variance of the Mets,
Agreed. I can't believe
the pitching injuries for the
they're
Braves
third.
already. Right.
I can't believe they're third on that list. Apparently, I don't know when those were put out, but that can't be before Schwellenbach and some of the other guys for the Braves started going down. I can't imagine that it is. So I don't know how the Phillies are third on that list for me. I think Phillies and the Mets should maybe switch because the Mets to me still have a lot to prove, especially in their starting rotation and their pitching with some of the moves that they made. So it's going to be an interesting division. But those three teams all can make the playoffs. And like you said, Scott, I think Philly is the surest bet just because they've been there and done that, and they know what they're going to get. And they have a guy in Dave Dombrowski that is not afraid to go make the move that he needs to make.
Yeah, I like that. You're right. That's always the wild card that'll give you a few extra wins when you're talking about projections. But is the same narrative said about the Braves when teams say, or when people say, "Oh, they're running it back"? Are the Braves just running it back? Well, they have to run it back. Everybody's on an extension. They added Robert Suarez to the end of their bullpen. I think good teams that run it back, I don't think it's a big deal. Did they fall short of their goal? Yes. I think they were fifth or sixth in the league in hitting. So you run that same lineup back, I feel like that's pretty decent. The Yankees, that narrative is happening. They had the highest wins, weighted runs created plus in the league. So I'm pretty sure that was a good lineup. You run it back, I'm pretty sure it's going to be good again.
Yeah, it also helps when you're bringing the same players back on a year-to-year basis that all know each other. And I know you can overrate the chemistry factor, AJ, but when you have the same mix and there's some star power, no, do you think that it can get stale, or do you think it's
No,
it's
not
easier
with the guys they
to
have.
right? It raises the floor in my mind, right? You know what you're getting with a lot of the guys, and then here's the thing: one or two of the young guys could break out. Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, maybe
Crawford.
Aiden Miller at some point later in the season. They have some blue chip prospects, and I would venture that at least one of them is going to be a major contributor this year, and up to three could.
Crawford for sure. I mean, I talked to Kevin Long, and he loves this guy. He loves his bat to ball skills. He loves his barrel awareness. He absolutely loves Crawford. So I think he's going to be a major factor. And Painter is probably going to be in the rotation breaking camp. So I think at least two of those guys will be major factors for the Phillies this year. And they're both ultra talented. We saw glimpses of Painter before he got injured of what he can do. Not as many. I think Crawford's won batting titles in 2 of the 3 years he's played. So that dude can hit, he can run, he can play center field. So I think the Phillies are in good shape prospect wise.
Yep. Hey, if you're watching this later on, drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts on the Phillies for the upcoming season. Anything you liked or didn't like about what we said, go for it. And again, thanks to Fastenal for sponsoring the tour and this segment. You can find out more information about Fastenal at FASTENAL.com. Industrial supplies, innovative solutions at Fastenal.com.